The terminal had been running clean for 2 hours and 50 minutes when it stopped knowing what to do with her. Zavran pulled up the field again, not because he expected it to change. He pulled it up because in 11 years of filing threat classifications, a blank field had never stayed blank. Not zero. Zero is a number. What her field showed was the space a number is supposed to occupy with nothing inside it. The tribunal was docking in 11 hours. Every cadet needed a filed threat tier before the inspectors touched his records. Zavran had submitted 847 classifications without a single unresolved case. He routed a correction request to hardware, logged it as sensor fault, and typed his next entry before he finished deciding what to believe. I have filed 847 classifications without a single unresolved case. What I am about to tell you ended that record. The hardware reply came back in 40 minutes. Sensor tag nominal, no fault detected. Zavran pulled her raw biometric feed directly, cortisol analog, adrenaline proxy, startle reflex, thermal output. All 4 lines flat across 3 hours. Not suppressed, not low, resting. The numbers a person produces when nothing is happening to them, except the chamber had been running a Class 8 psychological endurance cycle the entire time. His skin shifted amber. Pelushians cannot hide this. He smoothed his expression and went back to filing the other cadets. In the intake log between the equipment manifest and the medical clearance sat one personal item, a 10-pence coin, comfort artifact, class unassigned, no threat rating. In the live feed, she was turning it between her fingers, thumb tracing the smooth face, slow enough to be automatic. The index had no category for the coin. It had no category for its owner either, and that was becoming a problem. 9.5 hours to the tribunal. Unresolved was not a category the inspectors accepted. At hour 4, Zavran opened the override panel. He had grade 7 authorization. He typed his justification into the log and pushed the chamber to Class 9. 94 decibels subsonic, irritant fog at 0.9 parts per million, ultraviolet cycle added at 40-second intervals. The Drevkai plating locked hard. 2 cadets crossed to the exit panel within 7 minutes. He unsealed, logged their tiers, clean, filed, and checked her feed. Resting baseline. The Throlvik pair desynchronized at hour 2 of the Class 9 cycle and filed together. The scorer cadet lasted 40 minutes before the medical monitor flagged her membrane. He pulled her on precautionary exit and logged it clean. He looked back at the feed. She had crossed her ankles the other way. No thermal spike, no adrenaline shift. She had changed her posture the way a person does when they have been sitting too long. That was all. At hour 7, Zavran ran a full manual diagnostic on a sensor tag. 26 minutes, every sub-check in order. Nominal. He ran a chamber-wide calibration check, all emitters within 0.3% of specification. He graphed her biometric history against every escalation event. The line was flat, not declining toward baseline, never having left it. He opened the Index Behavioral Archive and searched for human threat response data. 14 entries. All 14 showed measurable cortisol analog response under Class 6 stimulus or higher. He was running Class 9. He closed the archive. He pulled her medical intake file. Age 17. Weight 48.6 kilograms. No anomalies. The intake physician had noted biological threat potential negligible. Zavran had processed that in 3 seconds when he first read it. He looked at it considerably longer now. Equipment error ruled out. Species exception ruled out. Individual variance ruled out. One explanation remained, and it was the one he had been working around since hour 1. His skin was violet. He was alone at the terminal. He had told the other staff his last classification would be filed by hour 9. It was hour 7. The Velchai cadets flinched every 40 seconds. The subsonic cycle hit their hearing range directly. Zavran logged each of their results as they filed out, doing it quickly, the way a person does a familiar task to avoid thinking about an unfamiliar one. At hour 8.5, he typed a log entry, read it back, and deleted it. He had described the chamber conditions. He had not described her. A Velche cadet filed at hour 9.2, another at 9.8. He logged both and counted the remaining active signals. The number was small. At hour 10.2, he ran the index protocol again from the start, not because he expected a different result, but because running the protocol was an action he could take. Same result. Blank field. The index searched 847 terabytes of behavioral baseline data compiled over 31 years and returned the same non-answer. The last non-human cadet filed at hour 10.7. Zavran logged the tier, heard the exit door seal, and looked at the feed. One signal, resting baseline, all 4 lines. The subsonic cycle was running, the fog was running, the ultraviolet was cycling. He had not typed a log entry in 22 minutes. His hands sat above the keyboard. At hour 11, 2 knocks. Knuckle on reinforced panel, even spacing, the standard exit signal. He unsealed the door. She walked out clear-eyed, not coughing. She reached into her pocket, took out the coin, held it a moment, the way a person holds something whose weight has become part of their own, and put it back. He looked at the terminal. Threat profile, indeterminate, insufficient biological markers for classification. No warning, no error, no category. Every flat biometric line across 11 hours, not a malfunction, not variance, not a species exception. The index had run its full protocol. It had one answer left, and it used it. Not a zero, not a fault code. An admission, the first in 31 years of operation. On the dark approach monitor, the tribunal shuttle registered. 37 minutes, 30 filed tiers, and 1 field that had never existed before. The tribunal lead was a Velchi senior examiner. She worked through the terminal efficiently. She reached the indeterminate field, read it, made a notation, and moved to the next file. She did not ask a question. That was the most frightening thing Zavran saw all day. After the tribunal departed, he created the new index category manually. Indeterminate, case reference 91. He typed the field header. He left the definition section empty because anything he wrote would be wrong. The coin went into evidence locker 3C. The printed label read, Comfort Artifact, Class Unassigned. Cohort 7, Case 91, INDT. The coin had a label now. She did not. The system that could measure everything gave up on one of them and kept the other. 3 decks up, the index was already running Cohort 8 profiles, clean results filing in descending order. No procedure had been added for Case 91. The system did not know it should need one. Zavran pulled up Case 91 INDT one more time. His skin had faded nearly back to transparent. The indeterminate field sat on his screen, the header, and the blank underneath it, and no definition because none could be written. Somewhere there is a world that built her for conditions that do not exist in this chamber. He had been trying for 3 days to picture what those conditions look like. He had not succeeded. He was not sure that was the part that should worry him.